Neto supporting Joao Pedro through the middle. As for Brighton, it's Verbruggen in goal. Back four of Kadioglu, Vuskovic, Dunk and Bascagli. Midfield two of Vifa and Gross, with Gomez, Yalkuye and De Kuyper supporting Kostulas up top. Chelsea host Brighton at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League at 2 o'clock this afternoon, with both sides looking to build upon strong opening weekend results. Chelsea beat West London rivals Fulham on Monday by 3-2, while their opponents today hammered Aston Villa 4-0 at the Amex. Chelsea also safely progressed through to the third round of the EFL Cup after beating Luton 2-0 on Tuesday, while Brighton thumped Tromsø to qualify for the Europa Conference League. Xabi Alonso makes 3 changes from the win at Craven Cottage on Monday. Emi Martinez makes his Chelsea debut between the sticks this afternoon, replacing Robert Sanchez. Wesley Fofana gets the nod in the back three over Josh Acheampong, and Pedro Neto starts ahead of captain Reece James. Fabian Herzl makes 3 changes of his own from the Villa win last Sunday. Ayari, Hinshelwood and Ruta all miss out, with Kadioglu, Yalkuye and Kostulas all getting the nod. So for Chelsea, it's Martinez in goal, a back three of Colwill, Lacroix and Fofana. Midfield 4 of Hato, Lavia, Palmer and Gusto, with Rodgers and Neto supporting Joao Pedro through the middle. As for Brighton, it's Verbruggen in goal. Back 4 of Kadioglu, Vuskovic, Dunk and Bascagli. Midfield 2 of Vifa and Gross, with Gomez, Yalkuye and De Kuyper supporting Kostulas up top. Chelsea host Brighton at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League at 2 o'clock this afternoon, with both sides looking to build upon strong opening weekend results. Chelsea beat West London rivals Fulham on Monday by 3-2, while their opponents today hammered Aston Villa 4-0 at the Amex. Chelsea also safely progressed through to the third round of the EFL Cup after beating Luton 2-0 on Tuesday, while Brighton thumped Tromsø to qualify for the Europa Conference League. Xabi Alonso makes 3 changes from the win at Craven Cottage on Monday. Emi Martinez makes his Chelsea debut between the sticks this afternoon, replacing Robert Sanchez. Wesley Fofana gets the nod in the back three over Josh Acheampong, and Pedro Neto starts ahead of captain Reece James. Fabian Herzl makes 3 changes of his own from the Villa win last Sunday. Ayari, Hinshelwood and Ruta all miss out, with Kadioglu, Yalkuye and Kostulas all getting the nod. So for Chelsea, it's Martinez in goal, a back three of Colwill, Lacroix and Fofana. Midfield 4 of Hato, Lavia, Palmer and Gusto, with Rodgers and Neto supporting Joao Pedro through the middle. As for Brighton, it's Verbruggen in goal. Back 4 of Kadioglu, Vuskovic, Dunk and Bascagli. Midfield 2 of Vifa and Gross, with Gomez, Yalkuye and De Kuyper supporting Kostulas up top. Chelsea host Brighton at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League at 2 o'clock this afternoon, with both sides looking to build upon strong opening weekend results. Chelsea beat West London rivals Fulham on Monday by 3-2, while their opponents today hammered Aston Villa 4-0 at the Amex. Chelsea also safely progressed through to the third round of the EFL Cup after beating Luton 2-0 on Tuesday, while Brighton thumped Tromsø to qualify for the Europa Conference League. Xabi Alonso makes 3 changes from the win at Craven Cottage on Monday. Emi Martinez makes his Chelsea debut between the sticks this afternoon, replacing Robert Sanchez. Wesley Fofana gets the nod in the back three over Josh Acheampong, and Pedro Neto starts ahead of captain Reece James. Fabian Herzl makes 3 changes of his own from the Villa win last Sunday. Ayari, Hinshelwood and Ruta all miss out, with Kadioglu, Yalkuye and Kostulas all getting the nod. So for Chelsea, it's Martinez in goal, a back three of Colwill, Lacroix and Fofana. Midfield 4 of Hato, Lavia, Palmer and Gusto, with Rodgers and Neto supporting Joao Pedro through the middle. As for Brighton, it's Verbruggen in goal. Back 4 of Kadioglu, Vuskovic, Dunk and Bascagli. Midfield 2 of Vifa and Gross, with Gomez, Yalkuye and De Kuyper supporting Kostulas up top. Chelsea host Brighton at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League at 2 o'clock this afternoon, with both sides looking to build upon strong opening weekend results. Chelsea beat West London rivals Fulham on Monday by 3-2, while their opponents today hammered Aston Villa 4-0 at the Amex. Chelsea also safely progressed through to the third round of the EFL Cup after beating Luton 2-0 on Tuesday, while Brighton thumped Tromsø to qualify for the Europa Conference League. Xabi Alonso makes 3 changes from the win at Craven Cottage on Monday. Emi Martinez makes his Chelsea debut between the sticks this afternoon, replacing Robert Sanchez. Wesley Fofana gets the nod in the back three over Josh Acheampong, and Pedro Neto starts ahead of captain Reece James. Fabian Herzl makes 3 changes of his own from the Villa win last Sunday. Ayari, Hinshelwood and Ruta all miss out, with Kadioglu, Yalkuye and Kostulas all getting the nod. So for Chelsea, it's Martinez in goal, a back three of Colwill, Lacroix and Fofana. Midfield 4 of Hato, Lavia, Palmer and Gusto, with Rodgers and Neto supporting Joao Pedro through the middle. As for Brighton, it's Verbruggen in goal. Back 4 of Kadioglu, Vuskovic, Dunk and Bascagli. Midfield 2 of Vifa and Gross, with Gomez, Yalkuye and De Kuyper supporting Kostulas up top. Chelsea host Brighton at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League at 2 o'clock this afternoon, with both sides looking to build upon strong opening weekend results. Chelsea beat West London rivals Fulham on Monday by 3-2, while their opponents today hammered Aston Villa 4-0 at the Amex. Chelsea also safely progressed through to the third round of the EFL Cup after beating Luton 2-0 on Tuesday, while Brighton thumped Tromsø to qualify for the Europa Conference League. Xabi Alonso makes 3 changes from the win at Craven Cottage on Monday. Emi Martinez makes his Chelsea. Well, it's a very warm welcome to this independent off-tube studio-based commentary of this Premier League fixture at Stamford Bridge this afternoon between Chelsea and Brighton. The Seagulls have just got us underway in West London. It's myself, Luke Ashurst, alongside me James Mason, to take you through all the action of the 90 minutes, and it's a game that is sure to bring many spills and thrills, especially if last weekend is anything to go by. Chelsea, of course, in their first game under Xabi Alonso, picked up a 3-2 victory against West London rivals Fulham on the first Monday Night Football of the season. Brighton turned over Aston Villa last Sunday, beating Unai Emery's men by 4-0, and leaving a real stamp at the start of this Premier League season. Chelsea, though, have started brightly this afternoon and are looking to try and come forward now through the middle of the park after a poor pass in midfield. But Morgan Rogers' pass is intercepted and will just bounce through to Bart Verbruggen. Ball now at the feet of the Dutch international. 3 changes made by both managers coming into this one from their last league game. For Chelsea, Emi Martinez on debut replaces Robert Sanchez between the sticks, who doesn't even make the bench against his former side. Wesley Fofana also comes into the side. He starts in along the back 3 in place of Josh Acheampong. There's also a change in midfield as well. Pedro Neto comes in for Reece James. As for Brighton, I'll bring you the changes in a moment, because Pascal Gross has just been set free down the near side. One-on-one with Levi Colwill. We'll just cut it back to Vifa. Ball into the box isn't a bad one, but it's cleared away well in the end by Gusto, and out of play for a throw-in on the near side for Brighton and Fabian Hürzeler. It's Ayari, Hinshelwood and Ruter that all miss out, with Kadioglu, Yalkuye and Kostoulas all getting the nod ahead of them. I'll run you through the lineups in a moment or so, but Brighton currently on the move down the far side now with Maxime de Kuiper. Back inside to Lewis Dunk, who will lay it off to Luka Vuskovic. Dunk once more. Ball into midfield for Gomez. Now over on the far side with de Kuiper. Pascagli now tries to turn it around the corner. Lavie is there to put the challenge in, and Palmer can get Chelsea back under control of possession before Fofana will try and move it down the far side. And actually, he's gotten away from Kostoulas here, Wesley Fofana, and he's not stopped the Frenchman. That's a decent ball in behind, looking for João Pedro. Vuskovic holds him up well, but Neto's there in support. Here is the Portuguese international. Ball into the penalty area, finds Rogers. Back to Neto. João Pedro now corner of the box. Lays it off to Rogers. João Pedro once more towards the byline. Chip ball towards Joel Hato. Cleared away over onto the far side, where Fofana can gather once more. De Kuiper holds the Frenchman up well, but Neto still gathers the layoff. Cuts in on his left boot, trying to link up with Rogers, who's held up well by Pascal Gross, but still gets the ball to Neto. Ball across the 6-yard box is deflected well by Lewis Duncan, out of play for the first corner of the afternoon over on the far side. Lewis Dunk not overly happy with a bit of defending over on the Brighton left. Lovely play there from Morgan Rogers, who started brightly in his first few games at Chelsea. Of course, got that goal against Fulham on the opening day of the Premier League season, and then had a fantastic game against Luton midweek on Thursday. It is now over on the far side, though, for this corner to be taken. Pedro Neto it is, with his right arm raised, left-footed in-swinger from the far side towards the near post, where João Pedro heads towards goal. Not properly done with it. There's the opener. Romeo Lavia with it. A horror show from Bart Verbruggen inside the 6-yard box, and Chelsea have an early lead. It's Romeo Lavia with it. Delight for the former Southampton midfielder. Delight for Xabi Alonso. Chelsea have a goal inside 4 minutes, and it's the 22-year-old Belgian midfielder with it. Romeo Lavia, who's never scored for Chelsea, gets his first goal for the Blues. It's been gifted to him by Bart Verbruggen, who the camera straight away pans to. Mats Vifa involved as well. But Romeo Lavia will not care one bit. He's finally got his first Chelsea goal. Chelsea have the lead inside 4 minutes. It's Chelsea 1, Brighton 0, and it's the worst possible start for Fabian Hürzeler in his side. Initial flick on from João Pedro at the near post is a pretty good one, which looked initially like it had been dealt with by Mats Wiefer, just kneed it up into the air. Thought that Verbruggen was going to come and claim. Wiefer nods it out of his hands, and Lavia is there to scramble the ball into the back of the net inside 4 yards. And straight away, an error from Brighton's goalkeeper and fullback sees Chelsea gifted the lead, and Romeo Lavia, the beneficiary of the error from the two Dutchmen along Brighton's defence. Perfect start for the Blues, nightmare for Brighton. First goal of the Premier League games on Sunday goes the way of Chelsea, and it's a delightful start for Xabi Alonso in his first home league game in charge. Straight away the Blues looking to come forward again, with Gusto charging forward down the far side. His ball into the box is defended well by Lewis Dunk, and Diego Gomez will gather on the near side. Feeds Pascal Gross, and the number 13 will drive forward for the Seagulls, looking to respond to that early goal well. Gomez now down the near side, low ball into the box looking towards Castulas, is cut out well by Maxence Lacroix and cleared out of play on this near side for a Brighton throw. Does give me a chance to run you through the lineups in full. For Chelsea, it's Martinez in goal, a back three of Colwill, Lacroix and Fofana, midfield four of Hato, Lavia, Gusto and Neto, with Rodgers and Palmer supporting João Pedro through the middle. As for Brighton, it's Verbruggen in goal, a back four of Wiefer, Vuskovic, Dunk and Kadioglu, midfield two of Gross and Bascagli, with Gomez, Yalkuye and De Kuyper supporting Costulas up top. It's the perfect start for Chelsea, despite Brighton starting relatively positively. And, well, it's all to do for the Seagulls, who go behind for the first time this season, having won by 4-0 last Sunday. Here it is now with Luka Vuskovic. Turns a couple of times before laying it back off to Lewis Dunk. Yet to concede this season in all competitions. Brighton, Hove, Albion. They didn't concede against Aston Villa last time out in the league. I'll break off Yalkuye trying to come forward. Challenged well by Lacroix inside the penalty area. That'll be a corner over on the far side for the Seagulls. They didn't concede against Aston Villa last time out in the Premier League, and then also didn't concede over two legs against Tromsø in the Europa Conference League qualifier. 4-0 they won at the Amex last time out against the Norwegian side. Last two games by 8-0 on aggregate, but are trailing by 1-0 early on in this one. Have got a corner though over on the far side to try and respond. I think that's Pascal Gross to swing this one in. The experienced German midfielder. I think Michael Oliver's just going to have a word though with some plays inside the 6-yard box. Lewis Dunk has just sent Malo Gusto to the floor, so Gross will have to take a moment before he gets ready to swing in. I think you'd probably say Brighton the taller of the two sides on the balance of things. When you see Malo Gusto marking Luka Vuskovic, you can understand, you can see where the height difference comes from. Gusto not overly happy with the 19-year-old at the moment, as Vuskovic has now just hit the deck. The Croatian is now going to go have a word with Michael Oliver, as is Malo Gusto, as is Lewis Dunk. Cole Palmer observes the conversation as well, looking a little bit bemused, it has to be said. This is going to be a long afternoon if every corner kick is taken in the same vein. Vuskovic getting his information off of Michael Oliver for heading back in towards the 6-yard box with Gusto marking him. Straight away the pushing and shoving continues, which shows that Michael Oliver clearly hasn't had too much of effect on those two. Gross, ball towards the near post, is punched away by Emi Martinez. Straight back out though to Pascal Gross, who will play it down the line for Kadioglu, into Gross once more, looking back towards Kadioglu. He's challenged well by Fofana, who was quickly out of the penalty area to challenge. Although Kadioglu's won it back well and will drive towards the byline, looking to skip away from João Pedro. He's challenged well by the Brazilian. That's how to play for another corner over on the far side. Big day for Emi Martinez this afternoon, brought in, you'd assume, to replace Robert Sanchez, who's not even on the bench this afternoon, from Aston Villa. £7.5 million, the World Cup winner, has cost Chelsea. Brought in after a pretty poor performance from Sanchez last Monday against Fulham. Xabi Alonso saw enough in that opening game and decided Emi Martinez needed to be brought in as an upgrade between the sticks. Already had his first involvement in the game, punching away that previous corner from Pascal Gross. Will he be called upon again? Let's wait and see. Gross, ball this time towards the back post. Lewis Dunk tries to go up for it with his boots, but he's completely missed it, and that's just going to bounce out of play for a goal kick. 9.5 minutes gone at Stamford Bridge. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. It's Chelsea 1, Brighton 0. That goal inside 4 minutes from Romeo Lavia, the difference between the two sides at the moment. A reminder of the two other Premier League games being played at the moment. It's currently Leeds 0, Brentford 0 at Elland Road. Sunderland 0, Fulham 0 at the Stadium of Light. Both those two games also available on this service. As long goal kick sent forward by Emi Martinez towards Pedro Neto will just bounce out of play for a throw over on the far side to be taken by Ferdi Kadioglu. He starts at left back this afternoon, coming into the side for his first appearance, first league start I should say, of the season. Yassine Ayari, the man who misses out, not even on the bench this afternoon, the Swedish international. In fact, none of the three changes made by Fabian Herzler make the bench this afternoon, so assuming that I'd assume they're all in force. I know for definite that Jack Hinshelwood picked up a knock against Aston Villa, so he's unavailable despite scoring a brace last weekend. Jorginho Ruter, I think, suffered a bit of an injury in training, so he's unavailable, but didn't see anything about Yassine Ayari. As long ball sent over the top looking towards Malik Yalkouye is overhit and straight through to the hands of Emi Martinez. Malik Yalkouye is still only 20 years of age, the Ivorian midfielder. Spent last season on loan at Swansea City. Every time I saw him, he looked really quite impressive midfielder. 36 appearances in all competitions. Getting the 1 goal and 2 assists. So output maybe not quite what the Swans are hoping for, but I'd say the performances were certainly there, particularly in the second part of the season under Vitor Matos. And I'll be hoping his first start of the season in the Premier League this afternoon, he'll be able to have an impact. He'll need to have an impact if Brighton to get back into this one. As I mentioned, injury troubles mean that they don't really have a natural replacement for him outside of Matt O'Reilly, who hasn't really been preferred by Fabian Herzler since the Danishman arrived from Celtic. Long ball sent over the top to Maxime de Kuyper is a good one though over on the far side, trying to feed Pascal Gross inside the penalty area. He's challenged well in the end by Levi Colwill, who took narrow to take the ball away from his former teammate. Here's Kadioglu now, ball down the line is a good one to de Kuyper. He'll then swing a ball towards Diego Gomez inside the box. That's been well defended by Yorel Hato, and now a chance for Malo Gusto to drive forward, looking to try and feed Joao Pedro. That pass has been cut out brilliantly by Vuskovic. Joao Pedro though will still grab a hold of possession and will keep it moving in the midfield. Ball through the legs of Pascal Gross and then away from Diego Gomez, but he was caught there by the Paraguayan, and that'll be a free kick for Chelsea just inside their own half. Just see a replay of it now. It's a lovely bit of skill from Joao Pedro to get the ball moving to Malo Gusto, and then even better skill to take the ball through the legs of Pascal Gross. A bright start so far in this season and to his Chelsea career. Joao Pedro, his national team manager Carlo Ancelotti in the stands watching on this afternoon. He's been around a couple of Premier League grounds already this weekend. Carlo Ancelotti sat next to Thomas Tuchel as well, the England boss, who I'm sure will be having a look at the likes of Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers, maybe less so Lewis Dunk, who doesn't seem to have been in the plans of the German as of recently. Here comes Chelsea though on the attack with Morgan Rogers trying to move down the far side. Oh, there's the second! Morgan Rogers, brilliant ball across, and Pedro Neto is there to tap in. The first may have come from an error from Bart Verbruggen. The second, though, for Chelsea comes from great play down the near side. Morgan Rogers, another goal contribution in his early Chelsea career. Pedro Neto's season is off and running, and it's Chelsea 2, Brighton 0 inside 40 minutes. The Seagulls are in all sorts of trouble, easy for me to say, and it's a perfect chance for me to bring in my co-commentator James Mason.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic from Chelsea. It's just quick, incisive play by them, driving down that left-hand side, but yeah, Morgan Rogers already settling into the blue of the Chelsea shirt, but he just puts it on a plate really. But the defending is poor. Kadioglu doesn't really have any idea of where Pedro Neto is, who just gets in on the blind side of him and just pokes home into the back of the net from 6 yards out. Nothing that Verbruggen can do about that one. And Pedro Neto, who, there has been reports over his future at the club, I think he's showing that he wants to stay here.
Yeah, brilliant finish from Pedro Neto. Great move from him over on the far side. Lovely flick from João Pedro to feed Morgan Rogers down the Chelsea left. Rogers then does brilliantly well to skip away from Luka Vuskovic, who's got to do better down the near side. As James mentioned, Kadioglu completely unaware that Pedro Neto is behind him. And ultimately, now 2 avoidable goals for Brighton. Sees them 2-0 down and in all sorts of trouble early on in this one at Stamford Bridge. Vuskovic now trying to get his side moving forward. Play the ball down the line to Vifa. Into Lewis Dunk, who opens his body up and will play the ball into midfield for Costulas. Although Dunk was caught just after he played that ball, so it'll be a free kick for the visitors. We're just getting confirmation that Jonas Schuurman, one of the Brighton coaching staff, has been yellow carded. I'm not entirely sure what for. He looks at he cuts a frustrated figure. We haven't seen too many pictures of Fabian Hertzler this afternoon, but I can't imagine he's going to be overly happy either, the Brighton head coach. They've started this game really poorly. Going forward, they look all right, but Chelsea have not really been tested defensively. That's now 2 goals that were very much avoidable, and it looks like at the minute, similar to last week for Brighton against Villa, Chelsea can score as many as they want.
Yeah, it was always going to be an attacking game between Chelsea and Brighton. Of course, the Seagulls, that 4-0 victory over Aston Villa, but defence has always been the weakest part of their game, really. When you look at previous managers before Fabian Hertzler, that was where they had issues. But yeah, coming forward, they're still good. Of course, they're not at full strength at the minute either, Brighton, but you wouldn't put it past them from grabbing at least 1 goal in this game, because Chelsea defence is the weakest part of their game as well. I think they look good coming forward, but they can be got out of the back. Yeah,
they certainly can be, as we saw against Fulham on Monday night. But the introduction of Emi Martinez seems to have shored them up, at least in the evidence of his the 16 minutes of his Chelsea debut. Fana, of course, also as well back into the back 3 ahead of Josh Acheampong. And weirdly enough, the changes in midfield seem to have worked quite well. Malo Gusto playing a centre midfield role doesn't look out of place in the slightest, and have been very impressed with Romeo Lavia in the opening part of this one, and of course got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes this afternoon. Attempted ball through to Diego Gomez is massively overhit. We'll just roll through to Emi Martinez, and we'll just see pictures now of Fabian Hertzler, who I said we haven't seen so far in this game. Well, we do now see. He does cut a frustrated figure like his coaching staff on the bench behind him. As Palmer into Lavia, he tries to turn away from Diego Gomez. He's flattened by the Brighton attacker, so that's going to be a free kick for Chelsea just inside their own half. Colwill to roll short to Lacroix. Lacroix out over onto the far side for Fofana, down the line to Neto. He's playing as one of the 2 wing backs this afternoon. Hato on this near side has been far more defensive than Neto, as you'd expect. Forward towards Morgan Rogers by Levi Colwill isn't great, easily cut out, and now here come Brighton on the attack. That's a great challenge from Wesley Fofana, stopping the ball, getting through to Maxime de Kuiper. Chelsea under a bit of pressure now with the ball being penned inside their own half. Costulas header forward, trying to get Brighton back on the front foot. He's leaped over Lavia, he's left him in a heap. Martinez, though, doesn't wait to see if the Belgian's okay. He quickly launches the ball forward towards Pedro Neto. He can't bring it down, but Brighton will try and play through the midfield. Lavia now back to his feet as again the Seagulls give the ball away cheaply through Costulas. And it's the Blues once more on the attack. Here's Cole Palmer, we've barely mentioned so far in this one, driving forward down the far side, putting Kadioglu under a little bit of pressure, the Turkish international does well to get the ball back to Bart Verbruggen, who will launch long over the top. That's not a bad ball from the Dutch shot stopper, and in fact it'll put Chelsea on the back foot just that little bit and allow Costulas and Gomez to put the pressure on the Chelsea back three. Lacroix does well enough to win a goal kick, playing the ball off of Diego Gomez, but that is something Chelsea are going to have to be careful of. At times they've maybe got unfortunate that their attacks have led to a goal scoring opportunity, because if they hadn't, they'd have probably left themselves a few too many short at the back.
Yeah, they can push forward a bit too much. Again, defensively, I still don't think Chelsea are quite there, but for Brighton, for Costulas, it's a big role for him, isn't it, with Danny Welbeck going in the summer to Chelsea. He's on the bench today. It's one of those situations where Welbeck did so much pressing and he was such a reliable player up front and he was a handful for defenders. Costulas has got to sort of fit into that role, and he's got to do what Welbeck did, and it's going to be difficult to do that. But certainly, I think from this sort of 2-3 minutes, been watching Brighton trying to attack there are openings. They just need to be a bit snappier, I think, with their play.
They're not short of attacking options this afternoon, Brighton. If Fabian Hürzeler feels like things aren't working out in attack, Promise David is on the bench, having recently signed from Union Saint-Gilloise in Belgium. Matt O'Reilly, as I mentioned earlier on, also available, and Mario Kosciuszko is also on the bench this afternoon. He's a player who's impressed a number in the EFL throughout numerous loan spells, namely to Bolton last season, where he was absolutely fantastic in Wanderers' promotion to the Championship. But for later on this afternoon, you feel I'll be shocked if we see any changes from Brighton prior to half-time whistle. There's ball now in the midfield with Olivier Bascagli. Goes back to Lewis Dunk, who tries to return the ball to the Frenchman. He'll flick on to Costoulas, I think slightly unintentionally, but the ball will find its way to Malik Yalkouye. Ball in behind looking towards Costoulas. It's cut out brilliantly by Malo Gusto, and then another sliding challenge from the Frenchman. Sees the ball pop to Cole Palmer. He'll play one in behind looking towards Pedro Neto. Read brilliantly well though by Kadioglu, and that was just some brilliant defensive play from both sides there in quick succession. As I said, Malo Gusto impressed me so far in centre midfield, and then credit where credit's due to Kadioglu. This time he recognises the run of Pedro Neto and stops him from getting in behind. Here's Luka Vuskovic, the former Tottenham Hotspur man. Lays it off to Bascagli. That's a great ball over onto the far side for De Kuyper. Ball into the box is cut out well though by Fofana and put out a play for a corner over on the Brighton left. They've looked semi-dangerous from set pieces so far, Brighton. The first corner they had on that far side did trouble Emi Martinez. The second of which I didn't think was a bad idea from Gross towards the back post looking towards Lewis Dunk, but it was overhit and Dunk was unable to play back across goal. I mentioned earlier that you feel Brighton have got the height advantage. Bascagli, Vifa, Dunk, Vuskovic, Gomez, all plays you can aim for inside the penalty area. Costoulas not short himself, so they have got plenty of options inside the box of Brighton. Who can Gross find on this occasion? Again, he looks to try and test Emi Martinez, but he does brilliantly, the Argentinian, to step off his line and pluck that ball out of the air. I think it's a really important afternoon for Emi Martinez. He needs to get off to a good start because all the pressure is on him replacing Bob Sanchez.
It is, but then again, I think Robert Sanchez was so prone to mistakes that maybe the pressure is off Martinez a little bit. He's very well experienced goalkeeper, World Cup winner. You know, he's very good at Villa, and you think of the price that Chelsea paid for him, was it £7.5 million? It's just a bargain, really, for a keeper of his standards. So yeah, I don't think there's huge pressure on him. I think he's, he knows his quality, and I think that's what Chelsea have paid for.
Lacroix almost playing himself into trouble on the edge of his own penalty area. Turns away well enough though and plays the ball back to Martinez. Long ball looking towards Hato on this near side is cut out well by Vuskovic. Costoulas now dropping into midfield will get involved in play. He's played a terrible ball back to Kadioglu over on the far side. And the play will continue now with Brighton looking to try and move back through midfield once more. Here's Vuskovic on the Brighton right. Ball down the line. Finds Vifa back inside to Pascal Gross, who thought about going over the top onto the far side, but Chelsea prepared for that ball from the midfielder. So Gross will just roll his foot over the ball a couple of times before going back to Lewis Dunk inside the centre circle. Every single outfield player for Brighton inside Chelsea's half at the moment, but Chelsea well set up to try and keep the Seagulls out, at least for the moment. Here's Diego Gomez down the near side. Back to Pascal Gross. Had the run of Yalkouye on to the right hand side, chose not to use the Ivorian, instead goes back to Lewis Dunk, into Diego Gomez, back to Vuskovic. Patient play this from Fabian Hürzeler's men, just to say that's a lovely ball to Vifa on the near side, plays it to the edge of the box for Costoulas. Costoulas now onto the far side to Kuyper, thought about the shot, he will now pull the trigger, took too long, the Belgian forward. And that's been blocked comfortably in the end inside the penalty area. That was dangerous from Brighton initially. They opened up the space down the near side, but as soon as it came to De Kuyper, playing slightly out of position on the left-hand side of midfield, he makes a mess of it and play breaks down because he takes too long.
Yeah, obviously he's scored a few goals for them, hasn't he? But he's not the natural goal scorer. He just didn't have that intent to get the shot away earlier.
Here comes João Pedro on the counter-attack, trying to get Chelsea back on the front foot. Pedro Neto now over on the far side. Goal scorer of Chelsea second. Plays it back into the midfield for Malo Gusto, and now all of a sudden the home side happy just to have a spell of possession, having been kept off the ball for good 5 minutes or so by Brighton, at least consistently by Brighton, a moment or so ago. Here's Colwell now, down the near side, plays the ball down Chelsea's left towards Uriel Hato. Back into Levi Colwell, further back to Lacroix. He's another one of those players Chelsea have signed this summer who's looked like a good pickup. Signed from Crystal Palace, the French international, for about £50 million. Lacroix will break off because Neto's out-muscled. Ferdy Kadioglu, who's João Pedro inside the box. Oh, we had to score. Put it wide against his former side. Huge opportunity for Chelsea to make it 3. Brilliant from Pedro Neto down the far side. He gets a thumbs up from João Pedro, but I'm not sure that will make the miss any easier for the Portuguese international. It's brilliant from Neto down the far side. Just out muscles Kadioglu and sends him the wrong way. Picks out João Pedro brilliantly, who composes himself, but he's got that horribly wrong, James.
Yeah, no, that should be 3-0. It's lovely play by Neto, like you mentioned. Physical, just barging off his opponent. Lays it on a plate for João Pedro. He took the time to compose himself. He had the touch. It's just horrible. He's got all of that bottom left corner to go for. A little bit inside of it as well. Yeah, that's a shocker. 3-0, and you think there's probably no way back for Brighton, even though we're 25 minutes old in this game. I think 2-0, still very much Brighton are in this one, but yeah, that's a huge miss.
It's a dangerous scoreline, isn't it? 2-0, very easy to rest on your laurels. And so, you're absolutely right, James. 3 would have really put Brighton on the back foot. And that absolutely should have been another goal for João Pedro, making it 2-2 at the start of this Premier League season. Here's Romeo Lavia, though, for the Blues, looking to try and get them moving once more. Colwell. Chip ball down this near side, looking towards João Pedro, massively overhit, straight through to the hands of, or the feet I should say, of Bart Verbruggen. Into Vuskovic now, square to Dunk, back to Verbruggen once more. Roll his foot over it a couple of times, trying to bait the press of Chelsea, but João Pedro no interest in pressing his former goalkeeper. So Verbruggen's going to have to pick a pass out with Chelsea set deep in their defensive shape. João Pedro will now step forward, forcing Verbruggen to launch long towards Diego Gomez. Flick on one by the Paraguayan international as he tries to feed to Kuiper, who's took narrow to get involved in play. He can't win it though, the Belgian midfielder. And then that'll be launched all the way back to Verbruggen by Luka Vuskovic. Still 0-0 in the other games in the Premier League this afternoon. Leeds 0, Brentford 0, Sunderland 0, Fulham 0. In our game though at Stamford Bridge, independent off-tube studio-based commentary, it's Chelsea 2, Brighton Hove Albion 0. We've ticked into the second quarter of this one. It's been a fantastic game so far, and to take us through to half-time, I'm going to hand it over to James.
Yes, Brighton who currently have possession just inside their own half in that back position with Kadioglu. Comes across to Dunk now, finds Vuskovic. And just switching out to the near right side now where FIFA has it. Finds the ball down the line then. So teammate in Gomez goes back towards Vuskovic on the halfway line. It's just a bit of patient play here at the moment from the white shirts of Brighton. They nearly have a little bit of interlinking play. A foot comes in, they have possession back on halfway. And working out to Dunk. Watching there Thomas Tuchel in the stands, but Dunk's international career never really started, to be honest. There's a long ball downfield, but a couple of bounces and it's into the grateful hands of Emi Martinez. But certainly Morgan Rogers, you'd expect to be a big part of the England team for years to come. And Cole Palmer, it's a big season for him as well, for Cole Palmer, to get himself back in the frame. Yeah, well, he's looked brilliant at the start of this season. I was talking to some friends the other day about Cole Palmer and almost suggesting that being left out of the World Cup squad maybe been the best thing for Cole Palmer, because it almost felt at times the last year and a half or so, sort of resting on his laurels at Chelsea. Obviously had that brilliant breakout campaign in his first season in West London, but after that season he almost just sort of coasted through seasons and was almost a case of, well, I know I'm a good player, I can just play my game and things will come my way. And actually, when he wasn't selected for Thomas Tuchel's World Cup side, it's almost like Cole Palmer's realised, no, I have got to put the work in, I have got to be the best player on my team like I know I can be. And at the start of the season against both Fulham and Luton, he has looked like one of the best midfielders in the Premier League, which is the talent that we know he possesses. He's been quiet so far this afternoon, but he's really looked back to his best in the early parts of this season. Brighton coming forward though down this right side with Gomez, delivers one into the box, chance here at the far post, and it's flicked towards goal, and Martinez makes the save. It was Yalkue there who just managed to get away from his marker, but he was stretching for it and could only get minimal contact really as he threw the right toe at it.
Yeah, he's stretching for it. Malik Yalkuye does really well to get goal side of Fofana and Lacroix. It's not like the two centre-halves had split, but he's still able to get between the two of them. Poor from Maxence Lacroix, who of the three centre-halves so far this afternoon has looked the least convincing. Fofana's looked good, but he still allows Yalkuye to get goal side of him on that occasion. I feel like maybe if that's something like Jorginho Ruter, who's a bit taller than the Ivorian, maybe he gets better contact on the ball. But Yalkuye does well to create the chance with his run in the first place. Lovely ball through to him, but unable to find the finish. And Brighton, with half hour gone, still searching for the first real clear-cut opportunity, I'd argue.
They're coming forward down the right once more, though, with Gomez, who has looked lively. As Vifa goes back down the line towards Dunk. He looked to deliver a ball in. It's a poor one, though. It's a low one. It's been easily cleared away, but not greatly cleared away, because Brighton have it back now with Vuskovic. Just goes to his left. It looks as if Vuskovic and Dunk have just switched their centre-back positions at the minute as well. Whether it's just temporarily, we'll keep an eye on that one for you. As they have the ball down this left-hand side now, the Seagulls. It's knocked further down towards the byline. A little bump then, but it's good defending in the end, and it will be a goal kick for Chelsea, who after half an hour of the game, 2-0 up at home. I think Xabi Alonso will be happy with his side's work so far. Are they title contenders this season, Chelsea?
I have no idea. I don't like to. I know it's sitting on the fence, but I really don't like to say that teams are in trouble down at the bottom or teams are title contenders when some teams haven't even played their second fixtures just yet. I think, look, on face value, it'd be easy to sort of be over optimistic about the start to the season because they have looked great. It's still a very inexperienced side. I'll break off here. Come Brighton. Yeah,
ball in from Vifa. Yalkuye trying to get on the end of it. He can't. There's enough blue shirts in the way. And now Chelsea are trying to come forward with a counter-attack. And they're charging over the halfway line. And Vifa's trying to give chase, but he can't there. Chelsea still coming forward. Ball into the penalty area. Pedro! And there's the third. And that is incisive from Chelsea. Well, he missed one a few minutes ago. An absolute sitter from inside the box. He doesn't miss this one. João Pedro on the score sheet. Chelsea 3, Brighton 0.
Yeah, and how good is that from Uriel Hato down the near side? He picks that ball up and he just does not stop. Really impressive from him. Even when it looked like Vifa was going to get ahead of him, he shows great composure just to step across and then play a brilliant ball to João Pedro. On the second time of asking, was not going to miss one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Brighton look an absolute mess. Fabian Hurtzler furious on the sideline, but they were cut open far too easily. One ball down the near side, and there was just nobody to deal with it. And yeah, really good play that from Chelsea. Lovely turn from Morgan Rogers early on in the build-up, but I think it all comes down to Uriel Hato, who shows great pace, desire, strength, composure. Half-hearted appeals for offside from Bart Verbruggen in goal. Almost just pleading for there to be some reason why this goal shouldn't stand, but Lewis Dunk is playing João Pedro on by a good 3 or 4 yards. Great play from Uriel Hato, and that's a lovely finish from João Pedro. Like I said, having missed that chance earlier on, was not going to miss the second time of asking. Celebrates against his former side. Don't mind seeing it from the Brazilian, and he's another player who's got a bit to prove, having been left out of his national side squad for the World Cup with Carlo Ancelotti in the stands this afternoon. Said James, are Chelsea title contenders? Well, I don't want to say yes, but it's hard to argue not, given the performances we've seen on the opening 2 games of the season.
Yeah, fast start to the campaign for Chelsea under their new manager, Xabi Alonso. Fresh optimism for them as a long diagonal ball downfield there by Brighton, looking for Gomez. Can he keep it in? No. A couple of bounces and that one bobbles behind. João Pedro has the earlier chance, but not that one to make it 3-0. But Brighton just all over the place defensively. The issue there was they were attacking. It was from their own attack. The ball in from Vifa. Yalkuye couldn't get on the end of it in 2 passes, and then suddenly Chelsea are driving over the halfway line. Vuskovic doesn't cover himself for much glory there because he's in no man's land really. Tries to then press that out ball from Chelsea when he probably, on hindsight, just drop back and just try and jockey and assess the situation. But Chelsea are coming forward again. Once more, Brighton, just huge gaps at the back now. It's with Rogers down the left-hand side, finds Palmer inside, goes back towards Rogers now finds Palmer again, goes for the shot cross, and it's deflected behind, and it'll be another corner kick. But They look up for this one, Chelsea.
Oh, they really do. I mean, they've got a weird off-pitch relationship, haven't they, Chelsea and Brighton? How many players have transferred from the Seagulls to the Blues? Even coaching staff as well. I think back to Graham Potter and his coaching staff moving from Brighton to Chelsea. So Chelsea were always going to be up for this. I just think... I feel for Brighton a little bit because they are missing a good number of players, but I do think they've been set up really weirdly. Buscaglia in centre midfield is not working. Vifa at right back, I know at times he plays there, but he doesn't look great this afternoon. They're really struggling.
Yeah, corner comes in and it's headed away well by Vuskovic this time. Yalkue trying to get on the end of the bouncing ball. He's giving a bit of chase here, but Rodgers with some good hold-up play. He's actually going to lose the throw in here, and they take it quickly as they're throwing down the right-hand side, and Yalkue's got an opportunity now. He's got a player ahead of him who wants to go for him, slips him into the penalty area. Maybe a chance here. Is it a shot, a goal? It's going to be saved. Oh, what a rebound effort that is from Yalkue. In off the inside of the post and into the back of the net. Well, there you have it. I said that Chelsea aren't great defensively, and that was poor defending, really. Emi Martinez, he concedes his first goal on his debut for Chelsea. It's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1, Yalkue on the score sheet.
What a game we've got on our hands this afternoon. Yeah, it all comes from a poor bit of play from Morgan Rodgers down the near side. I think he just gets crowded out, doesn't he? Pedro Neto panics trying to get across to Yalkue. He plays a great ball through to Kostulas. Martinez's positioning I don't think is great initially, but I do think he does just enough to get a hand on it, but nobody follows the run of Yalkue arriving late in the box, and that is some finish from a player who only scored one goal last season for Swansea City. Yeah, it's awkward from Emi Martinez. Pedro Neto's telling his players to leave it inside the box with his arms outstretched, but Yalkue gets on the end of it. Wonderful finish into the back of the net. Yeah, that's really, really disappointing from Chelsea. Shades of the second goal that Forest scored yesterday against Liverpool. Delap with a quick throw down the line, causing Liverpool all sorts of problems. In the end, Nico Williams winning the penalty. But messy from Chelsea. Xabi Alonso left with a smile on his face and then a bit of a grimace as well, as Rodgers has just tried to come down the near side, causing more issues for Brighton. But straight away the camera pans to Emi Martinez. I don't think you can necessarily say he's at fault, but straight away I looked at it and thought his positioning was bizarre, James. It really was.
I don't really think it's his fault. I mean, there's been a really nicely timed through ball from Yalkue there into Kostulas, and Martinez has come out and he's made this stop and has popped up into the air, but then he's got no help from his defenders. I mean, take nothing away from Yalkue because it's a brilliant hit. Watching it drop down, bit of pressure on you, volleying it first time and in off the post. But I wouldn't say Martinez is massively at risk there, to be honest. I would say that he's made a decent stop in the end. He'll say, well, look, I've stopped Kostulas from scoring there. I've made the block at the near post. He's tried to sort of slide it under me. It hasn't happened. But there you have it. Brighton hit 3-0, he thought that was it, but they're suddenly back into it at 3-1. Oh, he said it was going to be an attacking game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, given that Chelsea's last clean sheet in the Premier League was back in January, it was always going to be a tricky task for the Blues to hold off a Brighton side who've scored 8 goals in their last 2 games. But I mean, I think so much credit has got to go to the Seagulls for going 3-0 down and still continuing to throw bodies forward and continue going, knowing that Chelsea are not great defensively. Yeah, it's the longest run without a clean sheet in Chelsea's history in the league since 1960-1961, when they went 31 matches without a clean sheet. So we're not quite at that level just yet, but still 18 games without a clean sheet. You said already, James, in this one that it's the weakest part of their game, Chelsea, their defence, and it's absolutely right. But I think it's the nature that the goals, where the goals are coming from, that's a problem for the Blues. They're very, very similar every single week. They concede at least 1 goal on the counter attack.
Yeah, and it was quick thinking with the throw, wasn't it? Quick throw down the line. Chelsea hadn't really got themselves back in a position. It was a weak challenge from Pedro Neto who came across. He should have taken all of the ball, or if you're not taking all the ball, take the man as well. Just try and stop the attack that way. But he didn't, and it allowed Brighton to try and create something, which is exactly what they did. Yalkue then being used sparingly in the last couple of games for Brighton in the league and Europe, but himself a start today, and he's managed to get on the score sheet as well as Xabi Alonso, that'll be the only disappointment if this is what the score is at half-time, 3-1, is conceding that goal, because otherwise it had been pretty good from the Blues. But now Brighton have got their tails up. A lovely crossfield ball from right to left as they come over halfway. Looking up for some options now. They'll just go further down that flank. So a little slip there from Yalkoué, but does well to get it back then towards Karagioglu. Now it's in field towards Buscagli. Towards his near side where Vifa has possession. It's a little bit narrow, but they work it out to Pascal Gross now. Back inside to Vifa. Chelsea, I'm about to say, we're just in their banks of players in front of Brighton, and Lavia puts a foot and then he's fouled by Costellas, so it will be free kick to Chelsea. They try to take it quickly. Ooh, I tell you what, João Pedro's a little lucky there, and they take it quickly again here, Chelsea, but the referee said no, it's too quickly. Potentially the ball was moving and they were taking that one there, so they'll come back, but there's a Malagusto who was maybe a little bit lucky in all of that. There's a few little niggly challenges that go in that referees can be a little bit too hot on them, not allowing them to go.
He's already had to deal with a fair bit inside the penalty area with corner kicks. Malagusto and Luka Vuskovic, I don't think are ever going to be best of friends, and so he's had to deal with a little bit of that sort of niggliness already, Michael Oliver. I think so far he's refereed the game quite well, but I think you're right, sometimes you do have to let the odd couple go, because otherwise you'll end up blowing for everything. Here comes Chelsea on the counter-attack.
Yeah, Pedro down the left-hand side, edge of the area, into the box he goes, now Dunk up against him. Pedro then trying to get room for a shot, and in the end he hits it straight at Dunk from just outside the 6-yard area. Still pressure though as Rogers has it, he tries to fire one in from the edge of the area. It's been cleared away by Yalkoué. Costellas giving chase, can't get the loose ball, but Brighton nearly do. Sliding challenge, a crunching one in the middle of the park, but Lavia does well. Now Chelsea have it again. Neto down that right flank, up against Karagioglu. Get past him. Neto just goes back towards Palmer and finds Lavia. Lavia back out to the right hand side now. There's a bit of space with Afana, back to Palmer again. Tries to flick one into the box. It's been headed away by Vuskovic. Not a great clearance though. Maybe a chance here. Shot comes in, and it's just fizzed wide of the right post from Rogers. He was slightly falling down when he hit it with his left foot, but he got good power behind it, just not the accuracy.
Yeah, he certainly did. For a player on his weaker left boot, off balance, to get as good of a purchase on that strike as he did and have Bart Verbruggen scrambling like he did, it's very, very impressive. In the end, comfortably wide of the post, but a really great effort from Morgan Rogers. Nonetheless, we finally have a first goal in the Premier League outside of our game. Kevin Schade has just given Brentford the lead at Ellen Road. It's Leeds 0, Brentford 1 in that one. Still 0-0 between Sunderland and Fulham. We appear to have stolen the vast majority of the goals in our game, which I think was to be expected given the record between these two.
Rightly so. I have to say, if you're the British club record transfer, you should have 2 feet. You shouldn't be one-footed. You should be able to use both feet. And Rogers, not a bad effort there. As Brighton have possession now as they come over halfway. Buscagli down the right finds Vifa in a little bit of space. Vifa then knocks it forward to Gomez. Gomez then towards the byline. He's all alone here. Tries to dink one in. Hits it straight at the Chelsea defender in Colwell and behind for a corner kick. But they just suddenly dropped off there, Chelsea.
Yeah, you can tell it's getting towards the end of the half. The concentration levels starting to slip that little bit. All of a sudden, Malagusto being caught out of position on a couple of occasions. Maxence Lacroix looks a little bit nervy. Hatto has done brilliantly well bombing forward, particularly for that third goal throughout this first half. But now all of a sudden it's starting to leave his defensive post a little bit open. Really important that Chelsea make it through to half-time with this 2-goal lead still intact. If it ends 3-2 this first half, real problems in the second 45.
Kuiper whips it in towards the far post, headed up in the air, but the referee spotted a foul somewhere. I'm not quite sure where that is. The cameras are panning to Emiliano Martinez, so you'd expect that it's something to do with him. We just see Todd Bowley, the Chelsea chairman. Of course, there's uncertainty over sort of the ownership of Chelsea, isn't there? Sell shares. Alec Barley, the director, as well. If it's Xabi Alonso, it must be a strange one when you get brought in by your current ownership, and then, if sort of a few weeks after you're in, there's reports that they're looking to sell. Yeah,
it's really bizarre, isn't it? It's almost, it's something like Todd Bowley wants to sell his stakes in one company that owns Chelsea to the other company that owns Chelsea, so that it's just one big sort of consortium. It's all a little bit messy, and yeah, you have got to feel for somebody like Xabi Alonso, I think, was basically promised when he was offered the job that he was going to be in charge of things. He wasn't going to be told to be, he was going to have to deal with teenage being signed. No, he was going to run the signings, he was going to sign who he wanted, and he was going to be given the manager's job rather than the head coach job. And I think that's why we've seen such smart signings from Chelsea this summer, better than we have done in previous seasons.
With the ball in for Brighton, it's a diving header away by Lacroix. Now Chelsea have a chance to bring it forward up towards halfway with Pedro. Just seeing the goal, by the way, of Kevin Shardo. It's a lovely finish at Ellen Road, but Brighton 1-0 ahead. Brighton have won it back though. It's a nice play by them. They're ending this first half really well as Lalcue finds the ball towards his right side. Gross now with an opportunity to deliver it in, which he does. There's a chance here. Oh, it's a free header and it's over the bar from Gomez. Just couldn't quite get over the top of it, but that is a really good opportunity.
Really good opportunity. It's the quality that we know Pascal Gross possesses when he gets the ball out wide. Brilliant ball in. He's not a short player by any stretch of the imagination, Diego Gomez. He just gets the header wrong. You're always told, aren't you, as a youngster, you head it down into the ground, and he's trying to head it into that top corner. Whether he just was unable to get over the top of it or not, I'm not quite sure, but that is a good opportunity. A big chance for Brighton to go in. Just the one goal down at half-time. They're still very much in this game, even having been 3-0 down. They've won the last 4 against Chelsea. That's a bit of miscommunication between Fofana and Emi Martinez. And in the end, that could have been really, really dangerous for Chelsea. Brighton could have been in for their second of the game.
Shock if it's Martinez there. There's no need for him to start coming that close towards the edge of his penalty area as Brighton take the throw. Vifa has it. He knocks one into the box for Lalcue. He's under pressure from Gusto. Lalcue, nice little turn by him though. Squares it, little dink ball towards the far post is headed away. He's looking for Kadioglu. Roll out for a throw. Pedro Neto doing the defensive work. And I'll tell you what, if Brighton do manage to nick one just before the break, 3-2, maybe say they're not sure they deserved it, but Chelsea's defending hasn't been great either. We've got 1 minute of the 2 added on to go. Now knocked inside towards Vuskovic. He's going to aim for a shot here, and he has a shot, and well, it's gone over the bar in the end, but it's not a bad sighter from him.
At the same end that Antonio Rudiger scored that screamer from a similar distance against Brentford quite a few years ago. Now it's goals like that have been scored at Stamford Bridge by defenders. Catches it well, Luka Vuskovic almost catches it too well as it starts quite high, always travelling over. But it certainly had Emi Martinez concerned for a moment, and I don't mind the effort towards the end of the first half. The camera just pans to Xabi Alonso, who actually does look a tad bit concerned on the sideline. He recognises that his side have relinquished control of this one come the end of the first half.
They do. I just think there's enough attacking quality in Chelsea's team anyway. If Brighton pegged another one back, they would back themselves, Chelsea, to go and score another one. As there's a break in play. I think there's a clash of heads potentially. You can see it, a bouncing ball. João Pedro and Dunk. Dunk sort of heads the back of João Pedro's head. And the referee, I think Chelsea were asking for the free kick. The referee's just saying, look, it was a clash of heads, and I think he's thought, yeah, I've had enough of this one, so I'll blow for half time. So at the break then, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1.
Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and Vifa saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Lalcue, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and Vifa saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Lalcue, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and FIFA saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack draw. Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Yalkuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and FIFA saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack draw. Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Yalkuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and FIFA saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack draw. Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Yalkuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and FIFA saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack draw. Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Yalkuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and FIFA saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack draw. Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Yalkuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and FIFA saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack draw. Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Yalkuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and FIFA saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack draw. Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Yalkuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and FIFA saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack draw. Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Yalkuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and FIFA saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack draw. Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Yalkuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and FIFA saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack draw. Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Yalkuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen, and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Half time at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. A fantastic first half in West London this afternoon. Romeo Lavia got his first Chelsea goal inside 4 minutes to open up the scoring. A mistake from Verbruggen and Viva saw Lavia able to capitalise. 10 minutes later, Pedro Neto made it 2, capping off a brilliant counter-attack. João Pedro got the third. Again, lovely counter-attack from Chelsea. Alcuye, though, 5 minutes later, was able to pull one back off the rebound from a strike from Castulas. Brilliant first 45, Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. It's a very warm welcome back to this independent off-tube studio-based commentary of this Premier League fixture at Stamford Bridge between Chelsea and Brighton. The two sides went in at half-time, Chelsea leading by 3 goals to 1. A fantastic first 32 minutes of the game for Chelsea. That final sort of 10 or 15 minutes or so of that first half saw them under a bit of pressure, and they gave up one of their 3-goal leads, with Malik Alcuye pulling one back for the Seagulls before the interval. It's myself, Luke Ashurst, alongside me, James Mason, to take you through all the action remaining in the 90 minutes. Chelsea just about to get us underway with Cole Palmer, who has ditched the long sleeves for this second half. I don't think I've ever seen Cole Palmer playing in short sleeves before, but wasn't really involved in that first half, so maybe that's an indication as to why he's done so. But we are underway. No changes in commentary, no changes at half-time for either of these two either. So we're as we were from the end of that first half, and well, James, if we are as we were from the end of that first half, Brighton will be in the ascendancy, and we'll be looking to try and get back into this one.
Yeah, definitely. I think they'll be happy with how they finished the first half. Obviously 3-0 down, and you thought, well, that's probably it, but getting a goal back quite soon after going 3-0 down. They made another good chance with Gomez with his header which went over. There's going to be openings for them. It's the question of whether Brighton can keep it tight at the back while they're pushing for a second, third goal potentially. You're not too sure. I don't want to sort of kill this game off, but I would certainly think there's more goals in it for one of the two teams.
Yeah, absolutely. You may be surprised that Brighton didn't make any changes at half-time, or is it a case of the bench isn't strong enough to make those changes at the interval?
No, I don't think it's not strong enough, but he's maybe just thought, well, look, you've started to show something there towards the end of that first half. You've got a goal. It's maybe just the thought of, I'm going to give you 10 minutes, and if you still press and you still look like you're doing something, then you can stay on. If not, then you maybe look to make changes. But yeah, we're kind of speaking a little bit about it, but Vifa at right back, I don't really think he worked last season at right back, and I don't really think he's worked in this game at right back either. They need an out-and-out right back.
Here they come now, looking to try and come forward over on that right-hand side. Brighton, ball from Gross looking towards. Diego Gomez has cut out well. Uriel Hato. And Martinez clear long down the field. I'll run you through the lineups in case you missed them earlier on in the game in a moment or so. Brighton, as I said, to try and get themselves back into the ascendancy. That's a lovely flick from Olivier Buscagli. Back to Lewis Dunk inside the centre circle. I'm sure you can really get away with doing that at 3-1 down, but it was lovely to watch for the Frenchman nonetheless. Here it is now with De Kuyper into midfield for Kostoulas. Plays the ball over onto the far side for Vuskovic. That's a nice ball wide right for Gomez. Gomez slows it down for a moment under pressure from Morgan Rogers. Tries to get the return ball off of Vifa, but that's good defending from Hato. So he puts the ball out of play for a throw-in. Here's Buscagli once again. Back to Vuskovic. Now Lewis Dunk to this near side for Ferdi Kadioglu. To Kuyper. Back down the line for Yalkouye, the man who got that goal back for the visitors towards the end of that first 45. He now goes back all the way to Bart Verbruggen. Brighton will restart along the back four once more. Vuskovic thought about the long ball over the top, goes square to Buscagli. Buscagli now onto this near side for Kadioglu. Held up well by Gusto. Will go down the line for De Kuyper. Kadioglu once more. Yalkouye down the line looking towards Gross. That's well read by Fofana. Knew it wasn't going to go out of play, so kicked it out for a throw-in rather than a corner. And Brighton will get things moving from this near side. A reminder, two other Premier League games going on at the moment, both available on this service. It's Sunderland Fulham at the Stadium of Light. That game's still 0-0 up in the northeast, and it's Leeds United 0, Brentford 1 at Ellen Road. Kevin Shard the difference between those two at the moment. There is also a 4:30 game this afternoon as well. Manchester United host Ipswich Town in the late kickoff, also available on the service. Ball to the back post now for Brighton. Oh, that's almost headed across down nicely to Kostoulas by Diego Gomez, but Martinez is there to deal with it, and he'll really brilliantly finds João Pedro over the top. João Pedro skips one way, then the other. Space open up, cut back on his right. And the strike towards goal is blocked comfortably in the end. Gives me a chance to run you through the lineup. So the ball's going out of play for a throw on the far side. It's Martinez in goal for Chelsea. Back three of Colwill, Lacroix and Fofana. Midfield four of Hato, Gusto, Lavia and Neto, with Rogers and Palmer supporting João Pedro through the middle. As for Brighton, it's Verbruggen in goal, back for Avifa, Vuskovic, Dunk and Kadioglu. Gross and Buscagli the midfield two, with Gomez, Yalkouye and De Kuyper supporting Kostoulas through the middle. That was almost an assist on debut for Emi Martinez. The space opened up for João Pedro, I don't know why he didn't hit it.
Well, I think he should have passed it. I think Cole Palmer was in acres of space. There was 2 opportunities where he could have passed it, João Pedro. The first was where he brings it down well, he attracts 2 defenders over, could have squared it, doesn't, holds on to it, does a little bit more, and then just as he pulls the trigger, if he just passes it slightly to his right hand side, then Palmer is unmarked inside the penalty area.
Back in possession again inside the penalty area. Chelsea's number 9 wins a corner off of Luka Vuskovic. He struggled a little bit so far in this one. The Croatian, really impressive at Hamburg in Germany. Won what they call Rookie of the Year last season in the Bundesliga. Signed as the Jean-Paul Van Hecke replacement from Tottenham, with Van Hecke departing to North London. This corner swung in towards the 6-yard box, is easily plucked out the air by Bart Verbruggen, whose play out into the midfield is really poor. Neto almost snuck in there. Pascal Gross trips to the former Wolves man as he tries to nip in. And that's going to be a free kick to Chelsea. And it all comes from... Oh, I've got no idea what Verbruggen's doing. They don't even know who's looking to try and play.
That should be a yellow card for Pascal Gross, because if Neto gets that, he's shooting and Verbruggen's way off his line. Yeah, that's just really poor from the keeper. Really
poor from Bart Verbruggen. Poor free kick there from Pedro Neto, easily cleared away by Luka Vuskovic. And Morgan Rogers can gather and just knock the ball back to Emi Martinez. He'll then launch a long right-footed ball over the top on the far side, where João Pedro could nod down, looking towards Uriel Hato. The Dutchman will keep it in well over on the far side. Laid off to Rogers once more. Rogers ball into the box, looking towards Fofana, into the hands of Bart Verbruggen once again, who this time will play the sensible ball out to Kadioglu and slow things down once more. Yalkuye back to Kadioglu once more. Dunk. Now cross over onto the far side for Pascal Gross. Gross chip a ball onto this near side, looking towards De Kuyper. Headed away well by Fofana, but only as far as Castulas. One-on-one with Neto. Lock it inside to Yalkuye. Kadioglu now. Down the line for Castulas once more. Right-footed ball into the box, deflected, gathered by Palmer. Loose touch though allows Dunk to get involved and play. De Kuyper now trying to link up with Gross. Eventually it will be cleared away by Levi Colwill. Lewis Dunk forced to start all the way back at the feet of Bart Verbruggen. A tamer start to this second half, it has to be said, but that was always going to be the case after Romeo Lavia scored inside 4 minutes in the first half. Here is man on the far side, Mats Wiefer for Brighton. Into Buscagli. Buscagli, that's a decent looking ball onto this near side towards De Kuyper, who was lurking behind Pedro Neto, but a good flick on from the Portuguese international. Sees the ball out of play for a Brighton throw. Taken into Kadioglu, links up with Dunk. Back to Kadioglu once more. Back to his skipper along the halfway once again. Vuskovic. Far side now for Wiefer. Wiefer down the line for Pascal Gross. Gross into Vuskovic, who has Buscagli actually holding hands with him just outside the centre circle. Before eventually the ball finds its way to Pascal Gross. Again, it's with the German. Right-footed ball towards the penalty area. Yalkuye challenging. Lacroix's header away. His poor strike comes in from Diego Gomez. Furious with himself, he couldn't get it on target. And that's a half-decent opportunity that for Brighton. Chelsea again looking a little bit nervy at the back. Lacroix hasn't looked settled at all during this game. And I think Diego Gomez really should have done better with that opportunity. Yeah, just panics a little bit, Gomez there. Just sort of throws the right foot at it. A little bit of a snapped effort. But yeah, they don't look comfortable for a team that are 3-1 up. They were 3-0, now 3-1, but they just don't look that assured at the back, to be honest. And at the minute, the large bulk of possession is with Brighton, and they look like the most likely team to go and score. Yeah, here comes Malik Yalkuye driving forward once again. Costulas near side, trying to get away from Pedro Neto. Holds off the challenge of the Portuguese winger well. Lays it back now to Buscagli. He's flattened there by Pedro Neto, who waves his arms in a bit of disgust. But I think he's going to get yellow carded for the challenge. And he is indeed by Michael Oliver. First yellow card of the afternoon handed out to the goal scorer of Chelsea. Second. Can't believe he's been yellow carded, Pedro Neto, but he's made no attempt to go after the ball. And he's flattened Olivier Buscagli in the process. And Michael Oliver carding Chelsea's number 7. Let's have a look from the replay. Buscagli fact it's the Kuiper that's flattened it is. Maybe it's Fofana who's been yellow carded and not Pedro Neto. We'll just wait for confirmation of that. I think both of them could have been yellow carded, to be honest. It's only the one of them who's had the yellow card brandished towards them. I think in the end it is indeed Wesley Fofana, not Pedro Neto, who's been yellow carded. But a good opportunity nonetheless for Brighton to swing this ball into the box. After a poor bit of defending from Pedro Neto. Ball swinging by Bascogli. Oh, it should be 3-2. Huge opportunity in the back post. It's Diego Gomez again with a header. And that is one of the best opportunities Brighton are likely to get in this game. And they should be only down by a goal now.
That has to go in. That has to go in. He's running straight onto it. No pressure. 6 yards out. Goes across the keeper. How has he not at least got that on
He's
target?
just got to hit the target, hasn't he? Because I don't think from that close range Martinez has got a chance. He's just got to get it on target. Herzler can't believe it. I mean, talk about Brighton maybe needing changes. Chelsea look like they need changes, struggling in this second half. That's got to be 3-2. And Diego Gomez, I mean, he almost looks like he doesn't realise how good of a chance that is. That is mammoth for Brighton at the start of this second half, and Chelsea now looking to punish. Joao Pedro lays it off Palmer. Palmer in behind for Morgan Rogers. Rogers to make it 4-1, cuts back at himself. Palmer with the strike, blocked well by Vuskovic and cleared away well by Pascal Gross. So the Fofana cuts it out and plays the ball down the line to Neto. Neto floats the ball towards the back post. That's a great ball, and it evades everybody in blue and white. And now to play for a goal kick, and that's why Brighton have got to take their chances, because as we've said time and time again, they might be poor defensive, Chelsea, and they might not have control in midfield, but they're always going to have control going forward.
Yeah, they are, and again, maybe just not making the right decision there in the critical moment, Chelsea. But yeah, Brighton, I mean, to go 3-2, to get it to 3-2 there with Gomez with the header and still a lot of time to go, they really fancy themselves getting back into this game. But what an opportunity that is. I mean, it could be 3-3 if Gomez had taken the two-headed chances that he's got. Warranted the first half one was more difficult than that second one there, but he could have had a brace and it could be 3-3.
It certainly could be. It also, when you think about it, could be 4 or 5-1 if Chelsea had put away a couple of their chances as well. Joao Pedro's big miss in the first half. The main one I think about, but as things stand, it is still Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. That's poor from Kadioglu, who's now the Neto in behind, should have squared it, went for goal, saved by Verbruggen, still the chances there. Oh, chance for Palmer and it's missed. Rogers squared across to the England international, it's over the crossbar. Messi from Brighton, really poor. Chelsea have again let them off with some poor finishing and poor decision making. I mean, this game could have had 6 goals in it by now.
Yeah, I mean, it's so poor from Kadioglu there. He's just trying to sort of usher that one out. Pedro Neto having none of it, goes around him. He should square it Neto when he gets there, and then the ball that's cut back from Rogers to Palmer, warranted, it's quickly at him, so he's just, I mean, he's hoping there, Palmer, if he gets anything on it, it'll end up at the back of the net, but it's just gone right underneath it. I think he should be doing better, to be honest. You look at it again, it has come at him quickly, like I said, but he just opens the foot but doesn't get over the top of it. He's opened his foot and he's leaning backwards.
He almost lifts his foot upwards as if to try and chip the goalkeeper. He has to just keep a square boot. Even if that comes off his shin, it goes in. I thought maybe it's hit his shin pad awkwardly. No, he's lifted his boot upwards, and yeah, he had to score from there. Chelsea had to score from that position. Pedro Neto slams the floor. Can't believe Chelsea hadn't scored. Well, they would have scored had he squared it to Joao Pedro. He went for goal himself. Rogers did well to recycle possession. I actually think in the process Pedro Neto's hurt himself and has had to receive treatment before Brighton take the goal kick. It's not obvious as to what it is, which is the issue for Pedro Neto. He's stretching out his left leg as he walks off, so maybe a knee issue for Pedro Neto, but his race may well be run prior to the hour mark and he may be forced to come off. He doesn't look overly comfortable, the forward. They have got the likes of Jamie Gittins and Esteval available on the bench. Esteval looked really dangerous, if a little bit wasteful, against Luton midweek. Jamie Gittins came off the bench against the Hatters on Thursday and hit the post. So 2 not terrible options to bring on, but Pedro Neto has looked good in this one, in that sort of wing back position. Right, and now though, we'll get us back going once more. with the ball down the near side with Maxime de Kuiper. Back into Lewis Dunkel, spread it across the field of play for Vuskovic. Further wide now for Gomez, looking for the ball in behind for Vifa. Despite the deflection, it will get to the Dutchman. Vifa with the strike towards goal. Was he caught there from behind? He's hit the deck holding onto his ankle. I think goal kick may have been given by Michael Oliver, but Vifa has been left stricken. Let's have a look at the replay. Poor attempt to block from Levi Colwell. And I'm not entirely sure he was caught there. Mats Vifa. He turns away from Romeo Lavio. Yeah, he kicks through the back of the leg of Morgan Rogers. How that's hurt his ankle, I'm not entirely too sure. And good decision from Michael Oliver just to give the goal kick.
Yeah, he does. I mean, Rogers plants his foot and then FIFA strikes through with the right foot when he's bringing it through and clips the outside of Rogers' legs. Yeah, no, it's a question of whether that was a penalty or not. It wasn't, and Chelsea can get things back underway. But yeah, the issue for Brighton is they have been the better team in this second half, but they haven't managed to take the big chance that came their way. They're still 3-1 behind, and with what Chelsea have on the bench, surely Xabi Alonso is thinking, I need to freshen this up.
Yeah, absolutely. Just over an hour gone at Stamford Bridge. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. Chelsea 3, Brighton 1. Fascinating game so far. Really frantic and enjoyable, particularly from a neutral's point of view. And as things stand, it is still work to do for Brighton, but they have been on top, as James just said, in this second 45 so far. That attempted ball through to Kostoulas will just roll through to Emi Martinez, who again looks for that ball over the top towards Morgan Rogers. It'll be a worry for Fabian Hertzer as that ball bounces through to Bart Verbruggen. How easy it's been for those balls over the top to trouble them. I mean, been fortunate enough to be able to watch Liverpool's opening 2 games this season, and on both occasions they've conceded goals. Multiple goals with just long balls over the top. It seems to be a number of teams in the Premier League this season are dealing with just long direct bits of play from goalkeepers, if not centre halves. It's been a really interesting start to the season where teams are just trying to be far too expansive along the back four, and it's causing problems. And the fact that Brighton haven't been punished more frequently this afternoon from those long balls over the top is quite shocking, it has to be said. You can see now once again, even though they are in possession, every single Brighton player inside the Chelsea half, outside of Bart Verbruggen, as Maxime de Kuiper will swing a ball towards the edge of the box. Vifa tries to lay it off towards Gross. It's not properly dealt with by Hato. Eventually it finds its way to Gomez, straight towards the near post. Martinez pulls off a good save at his near post, a save you'd expect him to make, but one that'll do his confidence the world of good. And that's put out of play for a Brighton corner over on the far side.
I just thought it would be there for Gomez to hit that kind of shot in from the angle where he probably shouldn't be scoring. Martinez, it's a good stop at his near post. It's powerful, but it's another set piece for Chelsea to try and defend.
Yeah, it certainly is. They've looked a little bit nervy from set pieces so far in this one, despite the relative lack of quality from Pascal Gross. I don't think it is going to be the German to take this one, though. Having said that, he's had the ball rolled short to him by de Kuiper. Back into the Belgian international, Yalkuye. Ball in behind for Gross. Gross tries to tip it across, deflected and in! And Brighton do have their second, and we very much have a game on our hands now. Terrible defensively from Chelsea. I'll be intrigued to see who it has come off of last, because that is certainly an own goal. An absolute mess from what looked a pretty easy corner to defend. And wouldn't you know it, it's the former Brighton man João Pedro who scored the own goal and got his former side back into this game. Chelsea 3, Brighton 2.
Oh, what a ball it is from Yalkuye, I have to say, because they make a bit of a hash of the short corner routine there to Brighton. But the ball from Yalkuye is superb. He just threads it through that little channel into the penalty area for Pascal Gross, who takes a touch. He's trying to square it, but he just can't find the teamer. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for João Pedro because he's doing his job of tracking back there, and he gets the block in but turns it into his own net. But they fully deserved that for this start of the second half performance of Brighton. Like I said, it's 3-2 now. It should be 3-3 with Gomez's header that he had, but they will feel like they can get back on level terms, and if they do, they could potentially win it. Yeah,
momentum very much on the side of the Seagulls at the moment. Changes need to be made by Xabi Alonso, you'd have thought, sooner rather than later, to try and stem the flow of Brighton attacks. Here it is over on the far side with Pascal Gross. I mean, Hertzler's men are looking to try and take advantage of that own goal and use this momentum to get level with enough time to go on to win the game. They've won the last 4 against Chelsea at Brighton and Hove Albion. For a long part of this game, it looked like they were going to fall to defeat. They now are in a good place to go on and secure at least a point. Gomez with the effort into the side netting, after the initial ball into the box. Wasn't dealt with by that Chelsea back three once again. Gomez, who's been at the heart of a lot of things for Brighton in an attacking sense this afternoon, on the half volley once more, slices it, may have taken a bit of a deflection as well, but into the side netting nonetheless, and out of play for a goal kick. In Chelsea are now going to make changes, and three of them at that. Moises Caicedo, Josh Achimpong and Reece James all stripped off, ready to come on. Also as well, Esteval, 4 changes. Xabi Alonso is ready. Will all 4 be made at once? We'll have to wait and see, but James, they needed to be made soon, and I think, to be honest with you, all 4 are players I would have been bringing on.
Yeah, I mean, they're all over the place at the back at the minute, Chelsea. No one's winning the ball in midfield, and the defence aren't clearing it away. They're not being commanding enough in the penalty area. They're allowing Brighton too much space to whip balls into the box. I mean, Gomez could have had a hatful of goals today. He's got none, but he still could end up with one. And there's a great run forward there as Brighton have it, and they haven't made the most of that opportunity. But yeah, Chelsea, they need a break in play. They need these changes to be made.
Yeah, De Kuyper should have fed Kadioglu and made the overlapping run down the near side, but he tried to spread the play instead. And Chelsea almost got themselves on a counter-attack over on that far side. Brighton, though, deal with it. We'll try and get the ball moving with Luka Vuskovic. Still 0-0 by the looks of things between Sunderland and Fulham. Brentford still Leeds by a goal to nil at Ellen Road. Our game has clearly been the pick of the bunch of the Premier League 2 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon. Hopefully, this entertainment will continue into the 4:30 game as well, where Manchester United are host Ipswich Town. But the focus remains on this one, as Yalkuye will move down the near side for Brighton, looking to have a run at Malo Gusto. Gusto does well and puts a foot in and takes the ball away from the Ivorian. Neto then skips away from the Swansea loanee brilliantly, or the man on loan last season at Swansea, I should say. Gusto then caught on this near side. Referee Michael Oliver having none of it, and play will continue. Chelsea furious on this near side, but Pascal Gross will keep the ball moving. Here it is with Buscagli into midfield now for Gomez. Costulas will turn it round the corner and feed FIFA. FIFA, early ball into the box, is headed away by Lacroix, not convincingly though, and Gusto will have to turn it around the corner for Joao Pedro. He'll be desperate to atone for that own goal. He's just going to go there at Malo Gusto, asking for him to complete the overlapping run. I'll be brutally honest, I don't think if Malo Gusto had started that overlapping run 30 seconds earlier, he would have got onto that ball from Joao Pedro, as always, bouncing through to Bart Verbruggen. As Brighton once again come forward on the attack down the near side. Kadioglu linking up with De Kuyper. De Kuyper plays a nice ball down the line for Yalkuye, trying to turn away from Gusto, and he does so brilliantly. Yalkuye, ball into the box. Chelsea think it's run out for a goal kick. It has done. He took an extra couple of touches there, the Ivorian. He didn't need to, and the chance went to begging, but this does now allow Chelsea to make these changes, and changes that they've needed arguably for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, they have. They've needed fresh legs. They just need a bit of a stoppage to recompose themselves, as seeing the changes that are being made now. It is Fofana is one of them, with Achimpong coming on to replace him. Would suspect that Caicedo's coming on for Lavia, and Neto is also off, and it's Reece James that's on. So Lavia, Fofana, Neto are off, Achimpong, James and Caicedo are on. Obviously Reece James likes to play in centre midfield, can play in centre midfield, can't he? So will he go into that spot? Most likely next to Caicedo. Palmer then plays a little bit further forward. It'll be interesting to see how they do shape up, whether it's the same formation, I'm sure it will be, but just whereabouts players are going. Gusto's out on this right. He'll be the right wing back now. Yeah,
that would make sense. It's Pedro Neto, I think, forced off through injury more than anything, because I thought he had quite a good game. I think Lavia has looked tired for quite some time now in that midfield, understandably so. He's still always seems to be playing himself back into full fitness. I thought Fofana had played really well. I'll break off because Lacroix's been sent to the deck. No foul given by the referee. And then Gusto will have to clear on this near side after the initial header from Colwill. But he's given the ball away cheaply. Has Gusto. Early ball into the box from Yalkuye, headed away by Lacroix. Still the chances there. That's a nice turn from Gross. Tries to turn it around the corner. Buscagli with the strike. Saved by Martinez. It won't go out of play for a corner over on the far side. Has it been kept in by Diego Gomez? Referee says yes. And play will continue Into the box now, Pascagli, round the corner for Pascal Gross. Lofted ball into the box, heads go up, it's headed backwards by Reece James and then cleared by Gusto down the near side for Joao Pedro to chase. Dunk should get there first, he doesn't. Oh, and he's brought down Joao Pedro. What's the referee going to give here? Just the yellow card for Lewis Dunk. I think Luka Vuskovic was indeed coming around to support. Not a good tackle from Lewis Dunk. And Joao Pedro's not happy with the decision, but just the free kick and the yellow card for Brighton's skipper. 3/4 of the way through this one at Stamford Bridge. Thoroughly entertaining match so far. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. Chelsea 3, Brighton 2. To take us through to full time, I'm going to hand it over to James.
Yeah, Lewis Dunk there. I think Vuskovic is just close enough. Joao Pedro has said to the official on this near side, I was through, or I'm through, but I think Vuskovic would have had enough pace to get back there and to cover. Just seeing the shot a few moments ago before that breakaway from Chelsea with a smart save by Emi Martinez low down to his left-hand side. Free kick comes in for Chelsea, headed towards goal, and that's well wide in the end. It was Maxence Lacroix who can't get that one on target, but Chelsea, they just... I don't know what's happened to Chelsea. First half they were fine, yes they conceded, but they still look pretty comfortable. Second half they've just been blown away by Brighton. Yes, they're still leading 3-2, but if this was a Brighton that you'd say had Matoma, they had Minte, they had Hinchelwood, you'd expect them to have been ahead in this game, but Chelsea coming forward now, a little ball into the penalty area, that's overhit, is it? Yes it is, James can't keep it in, nearly goes over the hoardings. Surprisingly not injured there. But 71 minutes gone, Chelsea 3, Brighton 2, there's going to be another change made here.
I think Levi Colwell's told him that he can't continue. He's coming off for Pep Chavaria. He looked a little bit unsettled in the first half, Levi Colwell. This to me looks like an enforced change. I can't see a world in which Xabi Alonso has made 3 changes and then is now bringing off a second of 3 centre-halves in a completely separate change for a fullback. I mean, you'd assume Hato's now going to slot into the back 3 and Chavaria is going to play out wide, but there must be some sort of mitigating circumstance because that's a weird change.
Chance here though for Chelsea though as Brighton give it away. Palmer inside the penalty area, trying to get room for a shot. Shot does come in. There's appeals for handball, I think, but that's behind for a excuse me, corner kick. It's Mats Vifa that's down. I think he's just got struck in the face. So he's just taking a little bit of time to recover from that one. So we'll have a stoppage in play. But yeah, this is... I mean, surely this is Xabi Alonso changing his formation, or he's just hoping one of the full-backs can go in and play at centre-back.
Well, he has played centre-half in the past, hasn't he, Uriel Hato? Not necessarily to much acclaim, but he has done it before. It's not the most foreign thing to him in the world. He did play a back 4 against Luton midweek to Xabi Alonso, but I think if you've still got Hato on the field, it's going to be tricky to move to that back 4 unless you start really shuffling around massively. So,
you've got three fullbacks on. I mean, you've got 4 fullbacks technically. You've got Hato, Chavaria, Gusto, and James. Then you've got Lacroix and Acheampong as your 2 centre halves. The corner comes in for Chelsea. It's headed behind, and it will be a goal kick. And then there's Caicedo, Palmer, Rodgers, and Pedro. We're going to see a change here for Brighton. It's going to be the number 15 Osman, who will be coming onto the field of play very, very shortly. As Brighton try and come forward. This has been better from Chelsea since the changes and the stoppage in play and able to stopping the flow of Brighton. They've just managed to get themselves a little bit of a foothold in this second half. Chelsea still lead by 3 games to 2. Michael Oliver now is having to have a word with Reece James, who's complaining about something, but I don't know what. They're waiting to see if this change will be made before the throw. Potentially. Yes, the change has been made. Not seeing who's come off yet. And it's Yalkue, one of the goal scorers for Brighton, has made way with Osman coming on to replace him. As Brighton try and come forward down the left. It's not worked. It'll be a throw in to Chelsea, just inside, or just before the halfway line on the near right side. Yalkue, quite impressed with him.
Yeah, good player. Got to see him quite a few times back in the last season. I'll break off. Here comes Cole Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer shot from the edge of the area and into the bottom left corner. And there you have it. He's found the back of the net. Chelsea have their 2-goal advantage restored, and Brighton have been punished for not taking their opportunities in this second period. It's Chelsea 4, Brighton 2. Cole Palmer on the mark.
Basically been non-existent. this afternoon, Cole Palmer, outside of that chance that he spermed over the crossbar. But a player of his quality can turn up whenever he fancies and pull something out of the hat, and that's exactly what he's done. Afforded far too much space in the midfield, Cole Palmer. Once he gets past Pascagli, they're in trouble, Brighton. FIFA has been all over the place this afternoon and gets nowhere near him. You can see him, he can barely run, Matt FIFA, as Palmer's running towards goal. No one gets across, and on his left boot, Bart Verbruggen stands absolutely no chance. Brilliant finish from Cole Palmer. Herzl will be furious. His side have been great in this second half, but they haven't taken their chances, or Diego Gomez hasn't taken his chances. Then down the other end of the field, you just cannot rely on Matt FIFA. They have to bring in a right back before the end of the summer window, because they cannot afford to, with European football this season, for Matt FIFA to be playing right back 30 times this season. It just does not work.
We think they have brought in a right back. Maybe it's just not fully bedded into the squad yet, but they've got Costinha, who they brought in from Olympiacos, is a right back. They've also got a left back in João and Hadjim, who they brought in from Young Boys. So he's gone heavy, has Fabian Herzl and his team and his scouting team, for bringing defensive reinforcements, because they got Voskovic, of course, from Spurs. They got Pascal Struijk from Leeds. They got Hadjim, I mentioned there, Costinha. They got Michael Svoboda from Venezia as well. So 5 of their summer arrivals have been defensive. But maybe it is a fact of they just haven't quite got used to the Premier League yet, or the style, whatever it is. But you would expect at some point that Costinha and Hadjim to try and make those full-back positions their own as they come forward down the left-hand side with Osman now. Ball into the area is deflected behind by Achimpong, and it'll be a corner kick.
The only thing I'll say to that, though, is they were 4-0 up at half-time against Aston Villa, who were down to 10 men last weekend. Bring them on then. The game was done and dusted. Get them up to speed at the weekend, or play them a bit more against Tromsø. I know it's not Premier League opposition, but Costinha only played 45 minutes in the second leg against Tromsø. I think you've got to... I think you have to trust them at some point. I know there's a bit of bedding in time, but it's cost them the game today, because FIFA's been at fault for 2 or 3 of the goals. It has cost them.
Corner in here for Brighton towards the far post. It's being headed away. Only as far though as Karioglu, who has the effort, and he's dragged the shot wide. Right-footed volley. Just couldn't get it on target. Could have gone anywhere through the sea of bodies that were in front of Emi Martinez. There was about 12 players that were disrupting the view of the former Aston Villa shot stopper. But as it is, it's wide and behind for a goal kick. Still don't think Brighton are out of this. See, even though it's 4-2, even though there's only 13 minutes per stoppage time to go, they are still not out of this. There's a long ball downfield there. Oh, great chest control by João Pedro. Gives it back towards Achimpong. Inside towards Reece James now. Yeah, just looks like that's how they've lined up with James slotting into that centre midfield spot. Just trying to see where Chavaria is playing. He's on possession now, so he looks like he's playing left wing back. And then you have Hato, looks like he's slotted into, like you said, one of the centre back positions. As Brighton have possession back though, on that right side of the field. If they could get one back in the next 5 minutes, it would certainly set up a grandstand finish for the Seagulls. As coming forward now with De Kuiper, low ball into the box is a poor one. It's been half stubbed away. Karioglu back out to the right hand side now. It's a little bit behind a teammate and just have to start again now. Voskovic on halfway. He wants to play a ball forward, which he does. A little bit of pressure coming in. As Brighton work a little 1-2 around the corner, but it's been dealt with though. It's back towards the goalkeeper Martinez. We'll just clear it upfield. Certainly said before, it's certainly said in the first half, defence is the weakest part of Chelsea's game. And if they do want to challenge for the title, they will have to be better than they have been.
Yeah, I do feel for them a little bit. There's obviously some new players, some young players that are trying to bed into what is a relatively tricky system to learn under Xabi Alonso. I do think they'll get there. Lacroix's not had his best day today, but I think he was a really, really good signing and he will be better. But up until the yellow card, Fofana was playing really well. As soon as he got that yellow card, the head was gone and he looked in trouble. Colwill's the outlier, isn't he? He looks really unsettled on the outside of a back three. Never looked good today at any point.
And he's never fit.
And he's also never fit, as we suspect today. He's been subbed off through injury. So that is a worry. I'll break off. Here come Brighton.
Oh, what a chance there. Ball clipped into the area by Pascagli and just couldn't quite get there. Lunging at it was Kostulas. he goes with the right foot. If he goes to the left, he's maybe got a little bit more time, but that's another chance gone begging for Brighton. There has been a goal at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland are 1-0 up at home against Fulham. It's Wilson Isidore who is on the score sheet. We're going to see a double change here for Brighton, and it's going to be David Promise who will be coming on alongside Costinha. So you will get to see the right back here, Luke. As Reece James is getting some instructions from Xabi Alonso, it's probably them saying, where are we meant to be playing, boss? As Costulas is off the field of play. With David Promise, the Canadian on, and it is Vifa who's coming off, and surprisingly with Costinha, his replacement.
Yeah, I'm still baffled. I mean, we spoke about it earlier, didn't we? Vifa was his favourite sort of player to use at right back last season as well as, oh dearie me, this is not a good sign for Chelsea.
Chelsea have made all the changes.
They're going to be down to 10 by
Oh, have they? Hang on a minute.
Have they?
No, they made 4, so I thought they made 5.
But have they done them in? Oh no, they did, because they made a triple change, didn't they? So they have still got 1 block left. But Caicedo's played all of about, what, 10 minutes? And looks as though he's going to need to come off already.
Not even that.
I mean, this is an absolute disaster.
68 minutes, so he's played 12 minutes.
He can't have warmed up properly, surely, if within 10 minutes he's pulling up with an injury and he's having to be replaced by Valentin Barco. I mean, I'm surprised Barco didn't start this one. I thought he was great midweek against Luton, really, really impressive. And, I mean, Caicedo's going up by looks things almost in tears, but he's not started the season because he's come into the season injured. It would make no sense for them to have rushed him back. Either he's not warmed up properly or he's still got major injury concerns.
It's just very, very unlucky.
Or very, very unlucky, yes.
Something's just gone again. Whether it's just he really doesn't want to risk it, and he's felt it, and then if it's around the same injury that he had, he's thought, oh no, and then he's thought, as a precaution, let's just go off. I don't know. Obviously, it's all second guessing there on what has happened to Caicedo, but it does look like he has picked up an injury because he's gone off with Barco on to replace him. That's all of Chelsea's 5 substitutions made now, so any other injuries, Xabi Alonso won't be able to alter his team. As Brighton are coming forward now, we've got 8.5 minutes per stoppage time to go. Over halfway with De Kuiper. Looks up, plays a lovely diagonal ball there. It's a cracking ball. Kadioglu with a header into the box. Ooh, Martinez, little tiny fumble there, but he does well in the end. We've had another goal at Ellen Road. It was Brentford 1, Leeds 0, or Leeds 0, Brentford 1, but it is the Whites that have managed to get back on level terms, and it's Leeds 1, Brentford 1, and it's that man, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who was on the score sheet for Daniel Farke's side then. So a draw in the game in West Yorkshire, 4-2 in this game at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea in the ascendancy on the scoreboard, but certainly Brighton conceding 4 goals. Yes, they've got issues at the back, but could have easily been level in this game. Chelsea could have had more as well, to be fair. I mean, a 4-2 scoreline, we could have been looking at 6-5 or something if both teams had taken all the chances that they created.
Yeah, we certainly could have done. I think that's what's prompted the change to bring Promise David on by Fabian Herzler. I like Costulas. I've seen bits from him. I think he's got something about him, and obviously they've also got the Greek international and Stefanos Simas, both of whom I think have shown potential, but unfortunately, still a year into their Brighton career, they still look a little bit legless at times, particularly against the top sides. And so you bring on Promise David, who has shown in the Champions League he's more than capable of physically competing with top quality centre halves. If they can get some half decent balls into the box to allow him to challenge for them, then they could be in business, Brighton. But yeah, it's been a frustrating afternoon. If it does finish this way, it'll go down to a mightily frustrating afternoon and a big learning curve, I think, for Brighton.
Yeah, it is. I mean, 4's the number that's been synonymous for Brighton this season already. 4-0 against Aston Villa. They had a 4-0 in their Europa qualifier. And those were both victories, of course. And they've conceded 4 in this game. So yeah, they're still one of the most entertaining teams to watch, Brighton, because you know there's going to be mistakes at the back, but you know they're very good coming forward. And when they're back at full strength with Karo Matoma, with Yakubu Minte, with Jack Hinshelwood in there as well, they will be a very difficult team to beat. And again, they'll be even more entertaining to watch as there's a long ball downfield here by Chelsea. It's been headed away by Dunk, but now it's fallen towards Gusto, who's in a little bit of space here. He's been trapped back by Gomez, who does really well. The good physical battle by Gomez, who's holding off Palmer as well. Gets the ball out, and now Brighton are going to try and counter if they can, as they bring it close up towards halfway with one of their subs, Costinha. Portuguese goes inside then and finds Gross, and he continues down that right side, Costinha, and he gets the ball back from Gross. Can he go past his marker in Echevarria? He's sort of hounded into that corner at the moment there, and across comes a bit of help with Rodgers, and now Chelsea got the chance to counter here. Palmer plays a long ball downfield. It's under hit though. An easy headed interception by Dunk, and Brighton will try and create something down the left side this time. Osman, who's looked quite lively since he's come on, he's up against Gusto now. He's going to go one-on-one against him. Left corner of the penalty area, twisting and turning, gets back onto his left foot, digs out a cross. Just as I say, he's looked lively and promising. He knocks that one straight behind for a goal kick for Chelsea.
Yeah, poor from Ibrahim Osman, but nice play initially to open up the space. I will say from Xabi Alonso, because of that change that he was forced to make in bringing off Moises Caicedo, they look quite leggy. I think Valentin Barker is clearly a good player when Chelsea got the ball, but this game has very much been played in transition. And so you look at it and you go, actually, you'd probably bring off somebody like a Palmer or a Joao Pedro who look tired down the other end of the field, like we've just seen, and maybe look towards an Esteval or a Welbeck who can just run at the centre half. Just to say that they come forward quite nicely, Chelsea. Yeah,
edge of the penalty area now with Barco, tries to bend one in. That's a shocker. That's well wide from Barco. It was never entertaining, the goal there. And now Brighton get things going quickly as they try to come back into this game. If they, like I said, if they get one now, then I think there's still a little bit of stoppage time that they will have on their side as they go for a diagonal from left to right. That's overhit though. Gross can't get on the end of that one. And it's out for a throw into Chelsea in the left back position. Seeing if any sort of transfer rumours for either side before the end of the window. The biggest one actually I'm seeing is Martinelli, currently off to Al Hilal for £55.7 million, the Arsenal forward. It's a good bit of money that they recoup for him. I think Gabriel Jesus is on the way out as well. Abdul Malik, over £1.5 million for a National League player. It's quite interesting.
That's a foul throw. He's just lifted 2 feet off the floor there, Pep Chavaria. I can't believe that's not been noticed by Michael Oliver down the far side. But Gabriel Martinelli will now finally overtake Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as Arsenal's record sale, which the fact that it's taken this long is quite impressive. But I think that's a good bit of business from Arsenal to get a decent bit of money for Martinelli, and then, as harsh as it sounds, get Gabriel Jesus off the wage bill and get him to Barcelona.
Yeah, as they're coming forward down the left-hand side here of Brighton with Osman, and he's a little bit unlucky there because he did do Acheampong, who then has to slide in, sort of recovering back, and it's a little double deflection off Osman in the end. Acheampong gets the applause and the plaudits from his teammates. But, the chances have really dried up for Brighton actually in the last 5 or so minutes. Need something just to try and give themselves a little bit of hope. Just looking to mention the players that are missing for Brighton, Hinchelwood being one of them. Well, he's out for 6 weeks apparently. He could be missing 4 with a leg injury, so it's a real disappointment for a player who has really thrived with Brighton over the past couple of years. As Brighton now have possession inside their own half. Ball flicked from Vuskovic to Dunk. Will bring it forward now, finds Gross, who spins right on the centre circle spot. Finds Vuskovic now, goes for a big diagonal looping ball, looking for Osman, who does well to nod it back into the path of De Kuyper. Back down the line to Osman. Osman then up against Gusto. Goes back to De Kuyper. Little inside ball, it's under hit though, good slide by Barco, not a good ball from Palmer though. Brighton have it back, and then Dunk smashes it into the side of Palmer, and it's out for a throw on this left hand side. It's all gone a little bit tentative from Brighton.
It has done. They were taking risks earlier on, now they're making really odd decisions, playing passes that are not really on but seem like the safe option. It's been bizarre. They've sort of lost their way in this one with the change being made. That's got to be a yellow card for Olivier Buscagli, and indeed it will be for the French midfielder, rightly so. Michael Oliver not liking that challenge on Morgan Rodgers and giving the yellow card. He was tripped a couple of times before. Buscagli made sure he stayed down on the final occasion. But yeah, I think just with the changes, they have lost their way. And I mean, has Promised David touched the ball yet since coming on? I'm not so sure he has done, and which is a weird one. He might be about to get a touch now, and it's a great touch to flick round the corner.
See, what you were saying about him is they come forward now. Brighton, De Kuyper finds Osman. Osman up against Palmer, gives it back to De Kuyper. Now inside towards Dunk. Dunk then fizzes it into the feet of Osman once more. Can he get past Palmer? He's got 1, 2, 3 Chelsea players coming over there to try and stop him. I think they can sense the danger that he has, the pace and the trickery. He's going to get a sided throw. They were adamant, Chelsea, that was a double deflection, but it will be a chance for a long throw from De Kuyper. Chelsea obviously Enzo Fernandez not in the squad today. Rumours that he could be going to Manchester City. Robert Sanchez could be getting sold as well. As there's a long throw into the penalty area. It's flicked away though, and now João Pedro trying to break, and well, he's been hauled down. It'll be a yellow card once again. Boscagli's was a clear yellow card. This one certainly is for Costinha, who knew that he had to make that challenge, to be quite honest, otherwise João Pedro was away.
Yeah, the frustration there for Chelsea was that Morgan Rogers was through in behind after Costinha made that foul, but yeah, there was no, it never looked like he was going to get there, so I don't blame Michael Oliver for blowing early. João Pedro's just been given man of the match this afternoon. I don't necessarily disagree with it. He's been involved throughout the game, put it that way. Not everything positive. That's got to be one of the first times a player who scored an own goal has been given man of the match. An own goal that could have very much made things tricky for Chelsea this afternoon. But look, in a forward sense, he's been involved in everything good that Chelsea have done. And then even defensively, he has contributed at times outside of that own goal.
Yeah, he hasn't stopped, whereas Rodgers is really drifted out of the game in the second half. Same with Palmer. Palmer gets his goal, but apart from that, Palmer's not been heavily involved. So yeah, Pedro is always available. It's Brighton coming forward now with Kadioglu. Tries to square it to De Kuyper. It's bouncing around. He flicks it forward. It's been volley clear by Lacroix. We've had a minute and a half of the 5 added on to go. Chelsea 4, Brighton 2. Goal now. Give Brighton a very faint bit of hope that they can get back on level terms, but they need to get one now as the ball comes in from the right hand side by Gross, takes a hit off the Chelsea defender, and it'll be behind for a corner. So there is a chance now with this set piece. They've got plenty of defenders on though, Chelsea, so they would be disappointed, I think, if they concede from a set piece, but there's height in the Brighton side. Lewis Dunk being one of them, and Vuskovic being another. Promised David got a bit of a leap on him also. Mr. Kuyper standing over this one. Say red boots, pink boots. No, he's not very great on that. Illuminous, we'll say. Left-footed in-swing and delivery. This will be there from De Kuyper. It's right underneath the goalkeeper's nose, and Martinez is under a bit of pressure there. But the referee, Michael Oliver's seen a foul in there somewhere, and I don't know where.
I mean, it's defended well by Uriel Hato, but just let the play go. I don't see where on earth the foul comes from inside the box. I think he's refereed this game really well, who's Michael Oliver. But from the corners, I'm just not sure where he's finding these fouls. I mean, the camera's panned in on Lewis Dunk and Luka Vuskovic, so I can only assume that's where the foul was. But as they show the replay, they just confirmed that there was no foul. Really
confirmed
bizarre.
There was no foul, and looked at a point where Reece James was just grappling a Brighton player in Costinha and not even looking at the ball. So how on earth that gets let away? But then a free kick gets Gavin Chelsea's way. There's a ball forward here, and Osman nearly finds it through to Promised David, but it's into the hands of Martinez, who looks like he will get a victory on his Chelsea debut, having recently made the switch from Aston Villa. And we've got less than 2 minutes of the 5 added on to go. It's not the greatest clearance from Martinez, who Chelsea are arguing that he was slightly hampered by Canadian forward then. As the referee's going to bring this back, he said there's a foul on a Brighton player, so a chance to put a free kick in from deep. Well, Augusto is the guilty party. I think if De Kuyper just get this ball in, which I think he's going to do. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inside or just around the penalty area. As De Kuyper delivers it in. It's not the greatest ball, but it's headed towards goal. Too much work there for Vuskovic to do, and it's wide of the mark and remains 4-2.
Yeah, and I mentioned in the first half that Brighton certainly had the height advantage, so you think whether they like it or not, set pieces would be a decent route for them. but the quality of delivery into the box has been really poor. I mean, you expect better from Pascal Gross, and so that's been disappointing. But De Kuyper's been on set pieces and never looked threatening from balls into the box. Think about the most dangerous deliveries into the box. I suppose they probably have come from Pascal Gross, but they've been few and far between, and when they have been good, they were squandered by Diego Gomez. So certainly something that Brighton need to be better at. If you're going to have big physical plays in your side, which they do, you've got to be able to find them from deliveries into the box.
I would agree. There is a nodded ball down here. Finds Kadioglu. He tries to deliver one into the box. It's flicked up into the air. Osman brings it down. Finds De Kuyper. Left-footed outswinging delivery comes in. That one's being headed, I was going to say behind. It's going to bounce all the way for a throw on this near side. We've pretty much had the 5 minutes of added time, so it will only be a late consolation for Brighton if they can find the back of the net now. It's going to be a long throw from De Kuyper inside the penalty area it goes. It's flicked on. It's still bouncing around and it's headed towards goal and in the back of the net, and it will just be a consolation for Brighton, a late one. But it's Pascal Gross who is headed it into the top left corner. It's Chelsea 4, Brighton 3, but we've had over 5 minutes now.
Yeah, it won't matter for the end result. I mean, it just makes the missed chances for Diego Gomez all the more frustrating. Chelsea just, I mean, there is work to do defensively, isn't there? Again, as I've said before, I know they've got some young players in the back line and a lot of new players, and it's a new system, and there's all sorts of things you can put it down to. But at the end of the day, they've now conceded 5 goals in 2 games. Yes, they've scored 7, but it's not the sort of record that you can keep a hold of. But there goes the full-time whistle. They've held on just Chelsea. Xabi Alonso's home league debut ends in 3 points. It finishes Chelsea 4, Brighton 3.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck.